3, 2, 1. ASMR challenge. Go.
Touch the mic. Name drop.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, hey, hello and welcome to the Microsoft Megabyte for January 13th, 2022. Wow. Hey, we're just a couple weeks into a new year, and among many other things, that means we've just seen some of the latest and greatest from the tech industry at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. So what I wanted to do is get my fellow trainers on the line here to discuss a small handful of announcements and updates that might affect the world of Microsoft so that we're all prepared for different conversations we'll be having with users from all backgrounds. Gentlemen, how are you? We got Tony Hannity, we got Kyle Van Son, we got Alex Humble. We're here to talk CES. It's been a strange CES, hasn't it? What comes to mind when you think of CES 2022?
It's been a smaller, subdued CES, to be sure, but that's the nature of the beast, you know.
Yeah.
We're in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still where everyone goes to find out like what's setting the stage for the year of innovation in the tech industry is, and for as we're concerned, the PC and the productivity and the user experience industry. So let's just talk real quick about some of the things that might come up, some of the devices you saw that excited you, some of the experiences that we all saw, maybe some technologies, some standards. What's on your list? Kyle.
May I go first?
Yeah.
May I? Thank you, Brian. And thanks for having me back on the podcast.
Jeez.
Let's start with the big three, our OEM partners of HP, Dell, and Lenovo. I am very excited by the HP Elite Dragonfly, their third generation.
HP Elite Dragonfly?
The Dragonfly. Shorthand is the Dragonfly. It's a gorgeous device. I was working the commercial side when this was introduced, and I actually got to do a few in-person events around Dragonfly before everything shut down. Mm-hmm. And their third generation Dragonfly is making a dramatic change that may sound familiar to us Microsoft fans. It has a 3:2 screen aspect ratio.
Hello! So
Hello.
we are huge fans of 3:2 aspect ratio. And remember when we were talking about it, what was it? Surface Pro 3?
Yes, Pro 3 introduced.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
And it's such a big deal because when you hold a widescreen device, a 16:9 device or 16:10, it's great for those couple times you want to watch, Hollywood cinema aspect ratio movies. But when you're editing documents or reading an ebook or something, 3:2 is where it's at, isn't it?
Just that little extra bump vertically. It feels so much nicer, and we're starting to see our partners take advantage of that, and how Windows 11 is essentially built around it because Windows and Surface developed in tandem. So that's exciting there. Other than that, it's just a gorgeous device. The next iteration, Bang & Olufsen speakers, a lot of amazing parts of that HP device. Speaking of amazingly designed devices, Dell is updating their XPS line pretty dramatically. The XPS 13 Plus.
Yeah, I keep hearing, Kyle, about people just raving about the beauty of this device, the simple design of it.
People love XPS 13 overall, like from earlier iterations, but this one is taking some pretty dramatic swings. First of all, the entire base is a trackpad. It's an entire trackpad that stretches from the left side to the right side of the device. Speaking of stretching across the device, the keyboard has nearly no bezel. It's keys to keys on either end, making great use of all that available space, including the top of the keyboard, because gone is your row of function keys.
What?
It's gone and replaced with a capacitive touch function row.
Right.
So you will be able to switch. It's now essentially a touch bar along the top of your keyboard that for normal use is the function keys, but you can change it into media keys, change it into, it remains to be seen what uses folks are going to get out
presumably
of that.
it's a contextually aware keyboard bar.
I really want to see it in person because video doesn't do it justice capturing what that touch bar actually looks like. Refresh rates on videos aren't the best indicator of what that experience is going to be like.
Do you still get the touchscreen?
Oh, it's still a beautiful touchscreen across the body of the device.
Wow. So you can. So you're saying it's possible to make a portable device with both a touch screen and a capacitive touch area on the keyboard.
And a touchpad along the bottom, a huge haptic glass touchpad. It's touch everywhere.
That was nice. I think we deserve a round of applause for our ability to throw subtle shade extra subtly. Nice.
Quality shade.
ASMR challenge. ASMR challenge. What is wrong
Let's
with us
move
today?
on.
It's a new year, and is this is this what we're going to be like all year? I
This
hope
is the
not.
new energy. Let's
Our
move on
new
to the third and
identity.
final of our big three OEM partners, and that's Lenovo. Very exciting. The brand new ThinkPad Z13 and Z16 pre-installed with Windows 11 will be the first devices to include the Microsoft Pluton security processor. And I know this is a subject near and dear to the heart of our very own Alex Humble. Alex, what's Pluton?
You didn't give his full title. Our chief security nerd paranoia officer, Alex Humble.
Yeah,
Alex.
Chief had to try 3 different browsers of varying security levels until I could get this software to work.
Yes.
Okay, so
Broadcasting from an undisclosed location.
Yep, here it is, me, Alex Humble. Okay, so why Pluton? Let's talk security on devices. First, why security? It costs companies on average around $4 million per security breach. And every time someone gets into a computer, around 70% of those breaches are through what security industry calls endpoints. What's an endpoint? It's us. We're endpoints. Like it's, our computers, our phones. That's where most things get into these networks. So what's a way we can stop that? Well, as we've all heard with Windows 11, now you've got to have some combination of these things called a TPM chip. And I know Kyle has talked a lot about it and are, upgrading to Windows 10 and 11, all of the materials that we've put out for that. You need some version of a TPM chip, and it's to keep things a little bit more secure. So Pluton, which is sort of the next level of that, improves security even further at sort of a base level. That's really what it's designed to do, and it does that by better integrating that security, that special little area where all those security credentials are stored into the CPU. Makes it so much harder for attackers to get into a PC and compromise, an entire business.
And these are the first devices with this partnership, that Pluton security chip, for lack of a better word. It's not a discrete element. It is part of these brand new AMD Ryzen 6000 processors that are going to be powering these brand new ThinkPads from Lenovo. So this is the first step in that Pluton journey Microsoft is taking. So that's just from those big three, the laptops that I am the most excited about. But there's some wilder stuff, and we brought on our resident wild guy to talk about some wild stuff, right, Brian?
All right, come on, Wild Child. Great Enya song, by the way. Small plug there for Enya. Tony, what you got?
Well, I thought I'd bring the pie in the sky things that were announced at CES, and I wanted to start with the most mundane of it all, and that's just the desk. It's just the desk. It's just the desk. Nothing.
What's happening in the world of big desks these days?
This desk is freaking amazing. So it's from our friends over at Razer. It's called Project Sophia, and this is a modular gaming desk. And when you think of gaming desks, you think of, a desk that has like holders for like a cup or maybe a wireless charger and maybe LED lights. Sure, this has that, but it has 13 different sections in which you can interchange, and it's all capacitive touch. So you will have the ability to have that wireless charger, but you can also have that pad that will warm up your coffee mug, or you'll have the ability to turn down the volume just by gesturing lower. It reminds me of another touchscreen from something that we all know and love, but definitely very, very impressive. The desk also includes a television, or a monitor, as they say, but that's a pretty big monitor. It's looking at either 65 to 77 inches of a 4K monitor. The PC is actually built into the desk. So when you if this were to ever come to fruition, you would buy the desk, you would get the PC, and you don't have to have a tower or anything. And all the PC parts are very much off-the-shelf parts for Razer. So theoretically, if you did have something that you needed to get fixed or whatever, you'd go back to Razer, and they would be your go-to places.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome. I know this is a podcast, but if you can simultaneously pull up a picture of it, you'd be pretty amazed.
What's it called again?
Project Sophia.
Project Sophia by Razer. Sounds like a good entry-level gaming accessory.
Totally entry level. Yes, totally entry level. That's for sure.
All right, what else, gamer guy?
Well, I'm a big fan of gaming monitors, and especially with the upgraded standards that you have with the Xbox Series X and Series S. You need those upgraded monitors. So Samsung came out swinging with the Samsung Odyssey Arc monitor. This is a curved 55-inch display with a 16:9 aspect ratio. Now, you've seen curved displays before. No, you haven't.
This isn't your grandfather's curved gaming display, is it?
No. This is very, very curved, and at first it might seem a little daunting, but it's extremely immersive. It has, when it's in landscape mode, they call it the cockpit mode because it very much curves around you.
Right.
And then you can also turn it on its what they call the HOS, the height adjustment stand, and that can pivot and tilt, and you can turn it 90 degrees, so it's in portrait mode, but every single input will have its own video feed. So you could have you're playing Halo Infinite in the middle, you have your stock quotes up at the top, and of course, like your important emails coming through from your boss telling you to get back into the Teams meeting.
So it's like a picture-in-picture mode, but it restructures itself to take up the entire landscape of the monitor and multiple inputs. So you got multiple monitors in one.
Yeah, 100%. And here's the kicker. This is coming to market in the second half of this year. So we don't know what the price is.
Or the retailers will carry it.
Or who's going to carry it? Sure, but keep an eye out if you are in the market for it's going to be expensive, but if you keep an eye out for a very beautiful 4K curved monitor.
All right, Tony, that is a little bit pie in the sky, but it's all fun. It's really fun to talk about these incredible things. But let's bring it down. Let's bring it down 10,000 feet to something slightly less crazy, but still quite crazy. Kyle?
Yeah, bridging that gap between the pie in the sky and the pie on the ground is the Asus ZenBook 17 Fold OLED.
A 17-inch folding OLED screen. At first glance, it looks like a traditional clamshell laptop, and you might look at it and be like, well, that base is kind of bulky. That keyboard's sitting up high. No, that keyboard base lifts off, and underneath is the second half of this screen. I see. I'm looking at pictures. You got to check this out, everyone. The ZenBook 17 Fold OLED.
So you can use it as a traditional laptop. You could set it up so the screen is standing up and you have that keyboard, or use it as a big folded tablet. It's got a 12th gen Intel processor in there. It's going to be running Windows 11 Pro. So it is a full-fledged Windows 11 PC in a form factor that I don't think we've seen in a device this size yet.
12th gen Core i7.
No word on when it's coming out yet, but I'm going to keep an eye on this one because
this is crazy.
Looks real neat.
Okay, good. And then finally, let's just cover off on a piece that more difficult to visualize, but in terms of like the strategy of the year, how devices are evolving and stuff. I know there was one announcement that caught your attention particularly, Alex.
Yeah, so we're hearing a lot about the metaverse, right? Which is Facebook's push into what Microsoft calls mixed reality. That's that of course is where we're seeing a lot of things trending towards as we're remote, and people are finding that it's kind of nice to have that mixed workplace, play over, whether it's a Skype chat or through Teams. People are spending a ton of time online. And so Microsoft has really pushed into this mixed reality space, AR and VR. And so we've come up with a partnership between Microsoft and Qualcomm to help power our vision of what that space is going to look like. Now, if you've never heard of Qualcomm before, I can almost guarantee you've used it. It might be in your phone currently, or you might know it as what powers the Surface Pro X, whether it's the SQ1 or SQ2 processor. Qualcomm powers a lot of stuff. And so with this inclusion of this partnership of Microsoft Mesh and Qualcomm, we're looking at some really interesting hardware powered by this really big industry giant of Qualcomm to just bring us into that future space of mixed reality.
Tony, before we sign off here, this has been great. Thanks for jumping in, everyone, to do this sort of last minute recap. Just get everyone else up to speed. This was the first podcast of the year, so everyone stay tuned. We got some great guests and everything lined up, and we're pumping out some interesting new content too. In fact, you might be seeing us on TikTok now. Isn't that right? Tony? Where can everyone find our content now that we're starting to pump out?
Well, first off, Brian, I'd like to say thank you for welcoming me back to the podcast.
You paid the fee, so I let you in.
I appreciate it. I expect a receipt to expense. I have a very easy way for everybody to go find us. If you click the link in the podcast description, or if you have the ability to scan the QR code. If you're watching the YouTube version of this podcast, it's on our YouTube channel. Drum.io/ExpertZone has all of our social links to Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, even Twitch. And we have content going up almost every single day. So if you need a little bit of a refresher, if you like to hear our voices, you like to hear a way to talk Windows, talk Microsoft, or just get a little bit of a new tip and trick to bring to the dinner table and have that really nice anecdote, this is the best way to do it.
And just to clarify, it's drum.io/ExpertZone. Drum, like the instrument, drum.io/ExpertZone. And you can then it's a one-stop shop for all of our greatest hits and training content, videos, all that stuff. Check us out. All right, gents, thank you so much for the time. Let's get out of here and start making some TikToks to pump out there. Guys, all follow us. Follow us on TikTok. I can't believe we get to say that now. We finally get to say follow us on TikTok.
A dream come true.
Charge of the...
Oh my God, it's repeating forever. Goodbye. This has been the Microsoft Megabyte Podcast, a training tool for Microsoft field team members and sales professionals across the country, produced by Microsoft employees.